If your low back gets tight, stiff, or flares up from time to time, it might not necessarily be what you're doing. It might be more of what you're not doing. Most people are missing 3 key movements that help keep the low back on track. Today I'll show you what they are and how to start using them right away. Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Bradbury, family corrective chiropractor, and here we are at One Life Family Chiropractic, our practice here in Georgetown, Ontario, Canada. And today, I'm going to be talking about the 3 movements your low back needs every week, but most people tend to skip. Of course, if you're just tuning in, I love having you and being part of your health journey. So take a moment, please consider liking and subscribing so we can see more of each other down the road. In the big picture, the back needs variety, and the spine wasn't designed to be stuck in one position all day. It needs variability and movement. Most people live in the position of sitting and constant flexion, meaning they're flexed forward most of the day. This often creates imbalance over time. And the goal especially after today, is give your spine what it may be missing. So movement number 1 is extension. And why this matters? It helps counteract the sitting and constant forward bending that you find yourself in throughout the day. It helps change the load on the spine, in particular those discs in the low back, and helps restore some balance so that you're not always stuck in practicing this. You now begin to practice this, which your brain and your spine will appreciate. And what you can start with is I want you to take your standing breaks, and even if you are standing, I want you to just take your hands, place them on your hips like this, and 5 to 6 times, I want you to lean back and focus on, well, first of all, extending your neck, your upper back, and your lower back. And 5 to 6 times just gently lean back, and you're breaking up that habit that you've had throughout the day. And maybe you're getting the first extension of the day simply by doing that. Now you can also do some prone press-ups or a variation of the cobra. And what you can do, this one, you can spend some time doing this in the evenings just to break up your day. And especially if you're sitting down to watch your favorite show, spend some time doing some self-care. And with this one, 5 to 6 reps. And all I will do is just come up like this and then back down. Just gently come up, extend, find that extension, and then back down. Again, with this one, 5 to 6 reps. Some key things here to note are, remember, don't force the reps. Start with a smaller range of motion, because a lot of times you've been spending so much time in flexion that all of a sudden if you start extending your spine, your brain and your spine is going to be going, whoa! And you may notice it the next day if you start doing this and implementing it, much like you would if you're adding in a new workout routine. You may notice some stiffness and soreness as you help improve those ranges of motion. I'm going to have you work in that 5 to 6 rep range to start. And movement number 2 is just gently finding some rotation again. Remember, we often get injured in the ranges of motion that we don't have. One of the simplest ways you can start with your low back is literally just bring your hands up like this and just gently shift side to side. Now I'll go 5 to 6 reps each way. So total rotations would be 5 to 6 in the full range of motion, just like this. And you may notice one way a little bit more stiff than the other. If you want to add an extra component, you can rotate, give a little bit of flexion. Again, this is working on your low back and your thoracic spine. But you can do this at the desk as well. If you're in the seated position, you may find you can get some extra range of motion. But again, what you're doing is just focusing on finding some of those corners that you don't necessarily have. And by getting into those ranges of motion and strengthening them, you will become more resilient, and you'll improve those ranges of motion so that when you go to awkwardly pick something up or bend and twist, you're less likely to get injured in the future. And of course, while you're at it working on your rotation, what you're going to do is you can work on your hip rotation as well and spend 60 to 90 seconds just sitting upright like this. Again, working on that hip rotation in relationship with the spine. 60 to 90 seconds this way, and then you can switch sides and spend 60 to 90 seconds on this side. Some key tips you're going to want to consider with those movements are keep your shoulders relaxed, smooth, controlled movements, and you're going to want to start out with less is more. Meaning if you get to that end range, I want you to notice some of that stiffness. You may be slightly uncomfortable, but you're not going to drive so hard that you make yourself really uncomfortable. I just want you to work that range of motion, helping to improve it, strengthen it, and, helping you get more so you have those ranges of motion for life. And of course, movement number 3 is work on just, work on some of those stability movements, getting your spinal erectors, your glutes to fire together. With this one, something like the bird dog, I'd work in that 8 to 10 rep range. So 8 to 10 reps on each side. And if you want to advance your stability, I'd work on some movements that, well, you definitely don't work on these during the day if you're sitting at a desk, whether you're standing or sitting. And what I do is just bring my arm up. So I'm getting out of this internally rotated position, which I spend most of the day in. So bringing up, opening up my posture in the upper back, and I'm going to do the hip lift as well here. So you'll notice I've added some components. And with this, I'm going to work in that 8 to 10 rep range. Coming up, extending my hips, squeezing my glutes, and using, well, some of your upper back muscles, the glutes, your core muscles, and muscles that you don't necessarily use as well as you could when you're sitting flexed throughout the day. Great movement, highly recommend. You can use it as your warm-up or you can stack it as part of your day. So how to use these weekly? The extensions, I would work on those every single day. Your little standing breaks, something you can do daily. With the rotation and stability movements, I would focus on those, well, at least 4 to 5 days a week. So nearly every day, giving yourself a break, maybe 2 or 3 days a week. But I would focus on those most days a week. And what you're doing is building up your tissue tolerance and strengthening your body so that you can improve your range of motion and you can actually strengthen yourself so you're less likely to break down in the future. Now you'll notice with this one, make it simple, integrate it into your day. You may spend 4 to 5 minutes working on these. So really at the end of the week, if you've done them 5 times, you spent potentially 25 minutes of your life progressing things, making things easier, and stacking them up so that you have stronger, more resilient body and you're more bulletproofed for down the road. So why this works really well, you restore movement where it's often missing. You help improve load sharing, and as a result, your nervous system may feel safer, and the back doesn't need to tighten as much trying to protect you. And remember, as you wrap up today, don't forget about the health of your spine and nervous system, which is often the X factor. And many people, well, they come to see me, they've looked after all these wonderful things, meaning they've done the work and it's been great, but they still find there's something missing and or maybe they're not healing the way they want and being able to do all the things they love to do. And oftentimes, what we look for, well, after a proper consultation and biostructural examination, is you want to understand if the spine's moving properly and if those nerves are irritated. Now remember, your nerves control your muscles, organs, and ability to heal. And if those nerves are irritated, as a corrective chiropractor, that's what we're looking for to help restore motion of the spine and help those nerves communicate more effectively. So this is often like the X factor to help your body do more, heal better, and perform better. So consider the health of your spine and nervous system. And many times there's areas you may feel, i.e. your low back, but there's areas you may have no idea about. That's why it's so important to get tested to know what's going on the inside. So better movement of your spine, better function overall. Remember, as you wrap up today, find small ways to be consistent. And if your back keeps getting tight, it's often missing something, not necessarily overdoing something. Add these 3 movements in, stay consistent, and your back and spine will often thank you. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in today. Of course, as I mentioned in the past, I love being a part of your health journey. So take a moment. I'd love to see more of you. Take a moment, make sure you like and subscribe so we can see more of each other down the road. And remember, you're far stronger, more resilient, and resourceful than you may be led to believe. Bye for now.